Please don't forget subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to get notified of new daily videos.
I'd always sought quiet, a buffer from the constant hum of city life, which is why I jumped at the chance to rent this old apartment on the edge of town. It's a beautiful place, really, high ceilings, parquet floors, and a charming eccentricity that spoke to my love for forgotten things. My latest acquisition was an antique grandfather clock from a dusty estate sale. It was magnificent, all dark, polished wood and ornate brass, but broken. The hands were frozen at 2:20. I bought it purely for its aesthetic, a silent sentinel in my living room. At first, the silence here was a balm. Then, about a week after the clock arrived, I started hearing it. A faint, almost imperceptible tick-tock. It was so subtle I dismissed it as the old building settling, or maybe my own pulse echoing in my ears. I'd check the clock, of course, always frozen, always silent to the touch. But the ticking grew, slowly, insidiously. It wasn't just a sound anymore, it was a presence. I'd be reading or trying to sleep, and it would be there, a rhythmic insistence that drilled into my skull. Tick-tock, tick-tock. It began to feel less like a clock and more like a heartbeat, albeit one that was entirely alien to me. I started talking to myself, arguing with the sound, telling it to stop. It never did. Then the reflections began. I'd catch glimpses in the clock's glass panel, not of my living room, but something else. Fleeting shadows, long and spindly, stretching away from my periphery. Sometimes it was my own face, but grotesquely distorted, eyes too wide, a mouth stretched into an unnatural rictus. I'd spin around, heart hammering, but the room would be empty, the clock serene, its glass reflecting only my own pale, terrified face. The paranoia blossomed. I tried to move the clock, to banish it from my sight, but it was impossibly heavy. Every time I touched its cold wood, a wave of nausea would wash over me, coupled with an inexplicable reluctance. It was as if something within me didn't want to let it go. I called my friend, Viviana, desperate to tell someone. The line kept crackling, her voice breaking up into garbled static, until all I heard was a persistent, distorted tick-tock before the call dropped. I haven't been able to reach her since. Sleep became a battleground. The ticking intensified, a thunderous drumbeat in the quiet apartment, reverberating through my mattress, my bones. I started to hear whispers, faint at first, then growing clearer, interwoven with the relentless rhythm. They spoke of unlocking, of resetting, of letting it out. And I noticed my own reflection, not just in the clock but in any surface, was subtly changing. My skin seemed paler, my movements more deliberate, less fluid. My own body felt alien, like a shell I was slowly being hollowed out of. Last night it reached a crescendo. The ticking wasn't just in my head anymore, it was in my chest, a second, stronger heartbeat that drowned out my own. The whispers were no longer fragmented, they were a clear command. Open it, wind it, let me out. I walked towards the clock like a marionette, every fiber of my being screaming in protest, yet my legs carried me forward. My hand, trembling, reached for the frozen brass hands. As my fingers closed around the minute hand, there was a deafening click. The ticking stopped, utter silence, but it wasn't quiet. Instead, a low, grinding whirring began deep within my own chest. Not a sound I heard, but one I felt, vibrating through my ribs, my organs. It wasn't coming from the clock anymore. It was coming from me. The clock now is just an empty vessel. Its purpose has been fulfilled. I don't know what it is that I've let in or out, but I know it's here now. And I'm not sure if I'm still me, or just the new, quiet carrier for its incessant, internal hum.
If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button to like it. And please do subscribe to support the channel.